Back my 7th grade advanced class. Let's go ahead and get started with our practice and problem solving questions. I'm going to take number 8. We see you have 1/2 times something plus 24. This is a giveaway because it has 1/2 x here. So the only way to get that answer is to multiply it to x. We have 1/2 times 24. Well, half of 24 is 12. And now I have to get the 12 on the other side. That means I'll be subtracting 12. Which means I would subtract 12 from this side. 21 minus 12 is 9. Now, we have to get the 1/2 over here. We'll be multiplying it by the inverse, which is 2/1. Whatever I multiply to one side, I do the other. And 9 times 2/1 gives us 18. Because 9 times 2 is 18, and 18/1 is 18. So the sunglasses were $18. All right, let's move on to number 10. It says using distributive property to solve the equation. All right, 3 times x is going to give me 3x. 3 times a -6 will give me a -18. And there's no surprise over here. We didn't use distributive property, so the -6 has to come down. Now we see we've got 3x over here still, because we're going to have to take -18 and add it to 6. We noted we didn't combine x's yet because 5x is still over here. -18 plus 6 will be -12. And -6 still comes down. Now I have to figure out what's happening over here. The only thing that gives me a clue is there's no x over here left. So I'm going to assume that they mixed the numbers together. Actually, that they mixed the variable together. And that way, they left this -6 over here. The only way to have done that is to subtract 5x. And whatever I subtract from one side, I had to do the other. So 3x minus 5x is going to give me a -2x. This would still be -12. Now I've got to move the -12. This would be a plus 12 then, which means I'll add 12 to this side. This will still be a -2x. And now that's going to give me, well, -6 plus 12 will give me +6. Now I have to divide by -2, which means I'll divide by -2 over here, and that will leave me -3. Because a positive divided by negative is a negative, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the answer should have been -3. All right, let's move down to our next problem. That's number 12 for me. What is the solution to this equation? I know 3 times x is 3x. I know 3 times 2 is 6. And that's going to equal 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times 5, which is 10. Now I've got to combine my like term. Unlike what they did over here in this problem, I like making sure that my x is going to be positive. I hate negative. So I'm going to move the 2x because I know that's smaller than 3x. That's going to give me 3 minus 2, which is 1x. Now I have x plus 6 equals 10. I'm going to subtract 6 so I can isolate my variable. And now x is going to be equal to 4, because 10 minus 6 is 4. All right, let's go to number 14. 14 starts putting some rational numbers in here. I guess that's supposed to scare us, right? But we do the same steps. 0.6 times x is going to be 0.6x. 0.6 times 2 Well, that's going to give us, well, I think it's going to be 1.2. Let's just make sure. 0.6 times 2, right? We know that this is going to give us 12. And we know we have to move the decimal over 1, so we'll have to move it this way. So that's going to give us plus 1.2. That has to equal 0.55 times 2x. All right, let's try that one. 0.55 times 2x. Well, multiply it to 2, that's going to give us 0 here, carry the 1. That's going to give us 11. And that's it, right? And now we have to move it over twice, the decimal twice, so it'd be 1.1. That'd be 1.1x. Okay? And then that's going to be added to, now we have to take 5.5 times 3. Well, 5 times 3 is 15. We carry the 1, and 15 plus 1 is 16. This is going to be 165, and when we move the decimal over twice, it'd be 1.65. And now it's time to combine like terms. I know that 1.1 is bigger than 0.6, so I'm going to minus the 0.6x, which means I will minus 0.6x from this side. That means the 1.2 comes down. I know 1.1 minus 0.6 is 0.5. We know this because 11 minus 6 is 5, so we're just moving the decimal over 1. So this is 0.5x. And we're still adding 1.65. I need to get the numbers on one side and isolate my variables, so now I'm going to minus 1.65 from this side to get rid of it, which means I will subtract 1.65 from this side. Well, we have a situation here where our number on the bottom is bigger, right? So we're going to have to use, since our signs are different, we find the difference. That means we're going to be taking 1.65 and subtracting 1.2 from it. And we're keeping the negative sign because we keep the sign of the bigger number. And that's going to give us 4.45. Equals 0.5x. And now we have a division problem because we got to divide 0.5 away. So the problem is 0.45 divided by 0.5. I move my decimal over 1, which means I move it over here. And 5 goes into 45 9 times, so that's 0.9. So this will be 0.9 equals x. All right. Let me make sure I did everything right. Oh, wait a minute. We did say this was going to be a negative 0.45, which means this should be a negative 0.9 equals x. All right, let's continue on with number 16. So it uses the distributive property to solve the equation 2m plus 2 equals 22. Describe what it means to distribute the 2 to each term. Well, it says we're going to solve this first. So 2 times m is 2m. 2 times 2 is 4, so that'd be plus 4. That equals 22. Now we're going to subtract 4 from this side, which means we'll subtract 4 from this side. Now we have 2m is going to be equal to, this is going to be equal to 18. Now we divide 2 away, which means we divide 18 by 2, and m has to be 9. Now describe what it means to distribute the 2 to each term inside the parentheses. It means I'm going to multiply 2 to everything in the parentheses. So I'll write that out. I will multiply 2 to everything in the parentheses. Okay. Number 17 is yours to do, which means number 18 is mine. Oh, I was really hoping to get over on that one. All right. Use the distributive property to solve the equation. All right. If I do this, I see that I have, oh boy, this is going to be a whopper. Use the distributive property to solve this equation. I got 4x divided by 5 minus x equals x over 10 minus 9 over 2. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and combine my x's first. On one side, I got 4x divided by 5 minus x. These two are not like terms because I have x here and a number here. But since this has x in it, I'm thinking we can go ahead and do something with this. All right, to solve this when using distributive properties, I'm going to have to move all of my x's to one side first. So I'm going to subtract x over 10 from this side, which means I can bring it to this side. Well, it means I have to do the same thing to this side. Now that eliminates this one. Let's rewrite our problem. We have negative 9 over 2 over here. Now over here, we're going to have 4x, 4/5 x, I should say. And believe it or not, 4 over 5x is the same as 4x over 5. Then we're going to have minus x. We're also going to have minus x over 10. All right, all of that is going to be equal to 9 over 2. The reason I did it this way is so I could actually use distributive property. It's the only way that I know how to use distributive property in this problem. Because distributive property means I get to factor something out of all this. And the one thing in common between 4/5 x, negative x, and negative x over 10 is x. So now I'm going to go ahead and factor it out. Factoring is when we take what's in there out of it, right? If we have 4 over 5x, the things that make that up would be 4 over 5 times x. If we had negative x, well, the only thing that makes up negative x is, well, negative 1 times x. And a negative x over 10, negative x over 10, the only thing that makes that one up is negative 1 over 10 times x. So the common thing in every one of these is going to be x. That's our greatest common factor. So we're going to take x out of here, and we're factoring it into, let's see what's left over here, 4 over 5 times negative 1, or minus 1, I should say, minus 1 over 10. Now we've just used distributive property by factoring things out. That's all going to be equal to negative 9 over 2. Now I can solve for what's in the parentheses because they're all common numbers. as if I couldn't have solved it before. But they did want us to use distributive property, and that's what we're doing here. So I got to find a common denominator. That's going to be 10. So let's see. I'm going to have to multiply 4 over 5 to 2 over 2, because 4 over 5 times 2 over 2 will give me a 10 as a denominator, and 4 times 2 will give me 8. So this is going to turn into 8 over 10. Then we have negative 1. If I multiply negative 1, which would be negative 1 over 1, times 10 over 10, that's the only way to get 10 on the bottom, that's going to give me a negative 10 over 10. So we're going to put minus 10 over 10. Then I have to figure out, well, actually, this is going to stay the same. I don't have to figure anything out because 10 was already my denominator. Okay, and now that all that is in my parentheses, multiplied to x, equaling negative 9 over 2, I have to go ahead and, well, I will combine these, right? This is 8 minus 10. That's a negative 2. And negative 2 minus 1 would be negative 3. So from what I see, this is going to be negative 3 over 10 times x equals negative 9 over 2. There's no need to go ahead and put x with it. We know we have to multiply by the inverse of negative 3 over 10, which would be negative 10 over 3. And that will get rid of our negative 3 over 10 and leave us with nothing but x. Whatever I multiply to one side, I have to multiply to the other. So I'll multiply negative 10 over 3 to this side as well. I can use the butterfly method, and I see that 9 and 3 are both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now I have negative 3 times, well, I could use the butterfly method here too, can't I? I know 2 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So now I have negative 3 times negative 5, and that's going to be a positive 15. And 1 times 1 is 1. And anything over 1 is itself, so that tells me that x is equal to 15. That must be my answer. A weird way of solving the problem, but that is the way using distributive property. All right, I'm done with my homework. Good luck with yours. See you in class.